I think it'll be fine.
We can't hear you.
Here, let me know. You need me to speak up. Here we go.
That's
good.
Thank you all for having me here. Rutland is a place that is very near and dear to my heart. I have some of my favorite people out here in the crowd, Alan and Sandy Gartner and Jenny Gartner in the back in particular. So thank you all for having me here. What I want to also thank the Rutland County Democrats for having me here. I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Rutland. I have a tough race, but I'm happy to be here, and we'll spend as much time on the ground as I can. I do have a couple notes before me, so just bear with me as I peek down every so often. But what I want to say about my decision to run for Lieutenant Governor is that it really is the next step in my journey in the state. This is part of a lifetime commitment to public service for me. And for a lot of people, I was a surprise entry into the race. But I think for people who know me, they know that I'm somebody who not only rises to a challenge, but seeks it out and really has the best interests of the state in mind. So I'm proud and happy to be embarking on this. And as you know, I've been working as an advocate behind the scenes. So for 10 years, I've been doing that. I've worked on a bunch of different issues, from access to transportation for low-income mothers, issues of domestic violence, universal health care, and nutrition programs working to combat hunger. But I think all of the work that I've done, for me, really boils down to two simple goals. And one is to build stronger communities, and the other is to really be a voice for those Vermonters whose hopes and fears and dreams are so often left unheard. And so the next question on people's mind for me is, why are you running for Lieutenant Governor? And my answer to that is simple, that time is short and I'm impatient. So, the world is changing and we need to change with it. And Vermont, even though I grew up in Pennsylvania, really Vermont is my home. I've been here for 9 years, and I believe that things are possible in Vermont that just are not possible anywhere else.
Yes.
And while we've been able to accomplish some great things, thousands of Vermonters are still facing many of the same challenges that we've been struggling with for the past decade. So we know things like the gap between the rich and the poor are rising. Families are working harder and harder every day and bringing home smaller paychecks. And I think about my own parents in this, looking at retirement and trying to figure out how are we going to make the numbers work, and then looking into the eyes of their children and wondering what sort of future they're going to have. We can see the impact of climate change all around us. It impacts the state where we love to live and work and play. So we have some really big issues to tackle. And I think while we're struggling with all of this, there is a rising political tide across the country. I'm sure most of you have seen the comments and the dust-up over Representative Aiken. But there's a rising tide across the country that's really, not only keeping us from making progress, but is bent on rolling back 100 years of progress on livable wages, on workers' rights, on women's rights, and the critical safety net programs that really help Vermonters get through trying times. And in Vermont, we are different, but we're not immune to that rhetoric. And what we've seen over the past year is some of the most radical members of the Republican Party coming to this state. And so it concerns me, and I'm concerned about who they're fighting for. But I think from our perspective, we know who we're fighting for. And it's not Republican ideology, it's not Democratic ideology, it's not progressives, it's not independents. It's really about a bright and prosperous future for all Vermonters.
Yeah.
So what I think that we can do is we can work together to show the rest of the country that another way, it's not only possible, but it is essential, and that Vermont's future will be better and stronger for it. And I really believe that Vermonters were hungry for strong leadership, they're hungry for bold vision, and want to trust that their elected officials are going to do right by each and every Vermonter, from our most vulnerable to our most successful. And this has really been confirmed for me time and time again on the campaign trail. Those moments where I sit down and talk to Vermonters and their eyes are lighting up and they're excited to share their stories. And even as my staff are encouraging me to walk and talk faster, which I don't want to do, that all the worries that I have about how tough this race is, about endorsements or money or political gaming, all of that goes out the window. And it becomes very clear to me why I'm doing this, what's in my heart, and the difference that I want to make for the state of Vermont. And I'll tell you a quick story. I was in Franklin County at the field days up there, and I was walking around introducing myself to people, and I happened upon a couple. The woman was in a wheelchair. They were both probably in their 60s, but life had been hard to them. And I stopped by and introduced myself, and they said, "Don't even sit down. I hate politicians. I hate politics. I want less government. I'm the last person you should talk to." And I'm stubborn, so to me that was an opportunity for me to sit down and talk. So after I spoke to her about who I am and what I believe and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and it was one of the most moving moments that I've had in my life, really, but certainly on the campaign trail. She took my hand and she started to cry, and she said, "I don't vote, but you've given me hope, and I'm going to go to the polls just for you." And that is I'm carrying with me every day on the campaign trail, that I will carry with me to the office of Lieutenant Governor. And what I'm asking you to do with me today is to believe in me and to believe in my campaign, and let's work together to make this happen and make victory possible in November. So thank you.